What's up, you guys? This is Seth Leroy Hustle Adventure, and right now I'm going to be doing something a little bit different of a video. It's just me today on one of these, more of an informational video. It's something that I've been wanting to do. It's about owning your own business with a cargo van after only 2 months, because I've been doing it like since my authority, like for about 2 months. So I'm going to go over a pros and cons list. Let's get right into it. So I wrote a pros and cons list. There's a lot more pros. So I think I want to go through the cons list first that I've encountered. Stressful startup. Now for me, I watched a bunch of YouTube, and you saw in our one video when I explained everything, like for me it was just so stressful to get everything lined up. Like I said, I did hire a company to do a lot of it because, you know, that's what I did. And that's why, like, with buying it outright and doing everything we did was to not have a lot of overhead. So that was probably, to me, the most stressful part. But then when that's all lined up and then I'm doing my yearly stuff that I've had to do, that's not big. Like putting the miles in and having the URC, if I remember right, because it's my first year, having those two things done. And that was done by my service, too, that I use. And it was like I think it was like $180 total to just have both things done. And I think you can do some of this stuff on your own, but we did do some of the stuff on our own for sure. But it was just stressful, you know, it's all foreign, and that was a big part of the leap after leaving my trucking job. But that was by far the biggest con to me, was just, you know, being overwhelmed with that. But then when it's all set up, now it's just the yearly stuff, and obviously tax is coming up, that'll be new, but that was probably it for sure. Now another con, full responsibility on you, you know? I mean, it's fully on you. You know, there's no, like, you know, place you're just going to every day that's just going to give you money after you work, you know, because that's what I've done all my life. Workflow changing, how your work can change, and, you know, because me and my wife are big into budgeting. You know, we came from nothing, I'm telling you. But just how it can always change. Like before, we would know, okay, you make this much, and obviously as progression, my wife, she's a hairstylist too, so she would work less as I was getting better jobs, but we would like be able to know, like, okay, this is our bills. This is the way we're gonna budget this money, because we got really big into Dave Ramsey and other things on budgeting. Making big decisions is a con that I put. Just like when you're, you know, going back and forth bidding with brokers and like with customers, and just like making a big decision, should I go here, or this state's bad, or should I go here, or is this worth it to get there, what if I don't get out, like, you know. But I'm real big into spirituality and being in touch with my God, so to me it's just like I just have to let go of the wheel sometimes and be like, all right, let's just see what happens. Budgeting harder. Oh, I already touched on that pretty much, you know, like how your budget can shift and stuff. You know, we were so used to, like, when I'd have like my certain job, it'd be boom, boom, boom. More paperwork, but not really bad. I mean, once you get used to it, it's just like, you know, second nature, just like anything. So like already at 2 months, it's not even a big deal to me to be like, boom, boom, this is what I do. There's the RC, this is this. It's not even crazy. Repairs falling on you, but we have a good safety net after the years of saving up. I always say that because if people think like, oh, it was just, they just got to buy a van outright and they got to, no, like we came from nothing, trust me. So it was saving years and years, not for this, we're saving for retirement. But to get rental properties, other things, that's a different topic, but like that's why we've been grinding and budgeting for so long. But that's the thing, though, like when the repairs come, obviously that is a con. You're going to go, oh, great, I got to fix this. But leaving the family at first for a week at a time, but I look at it like, you know, because I was a truck driver, but I drove straight truck. I had my CDLA, but I drove straight truck and I was home every night. I mean, I've had some 14-hour long days until I got home, but in total it was like a 16-hour day from waking up, from my commute, like, and I did that for 10 months because before I was a laborer doing cabinet work, and before that I've had a lot of good jobs and a lot of bad jobs, really bad jobs. But for the most part, what I was getting at with that is just like the first time it was weird for me. I'm like, because me and my family are so close. We got 4 kids and my wife, and we're just like so close. But now, like, cause it's different, cause like, I'm like, well, I'm not at a trucking job, cause you know, when I got my CDLA, all these companies talking to me about, oh, you'll only be out 2 months and you get to go home. And I heard half the time that was a lie. So this is different for me, cause I'll go out a week, and then whenever I want to come home, I start looking for loads up back here. So it's just like, that's how I look at it. And now it's not even bad. Like, cause my kids, and my wife, when I'm home for a week, we binge watch shows, we hang out, and then I only look for local regional. That's how I do it. 1 week out. So it's actually amazing. We feel like we get more time in when we've had all these things going on. So anyways, find work. That I put too for a con, because, you know, sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's busy, but like, you know, because it's all random the way it's flowing, you know. So finding work obviously is a con because it's stressful and it all lands on you, but as you're getting used to it, it's not as stressful. It still is though, because you know everything. But I'm making more money than I was when I was making $24 an hour as a truck driver, 55, 60 hours a week. So, I mean, I had one guy go off on me recently, which was funny. And I said I used to have my CDL, I'm making more, because he was saying, you guys are a joke. You cargo van owners, sprinter van owners, you're a joke, this and that. I said, I'm making more and I have my CDL. And then he was like, yeah, I'm a truck driver. Like, apparently that might be what his qualm was, but I don't really care. It's like, yeah, I was a truck driver too, but I wanted something. I almost bought a straight truck, but that would have been all of our money. Like, so it was just too big of a risk to do that. But, you know, so now we'll go into the pros. There's a lot more. First of all, being your own boss. I've never had that. I've always, you know, you're always like, you just don't have a schedule. Like, my son's game was yesterday, you know, he's in basketball. Like, if I was at a normal job, it would have been Friday. I would have got off work. Oh, it was at 4:15. I wouldn't have made it. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I had runs I was looking at doing yesterday. We got one lined up for Sunday evening, but there was some going on that day. And then I'm like, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to stay home and go to my kid's game, you know? Like, that's what I mean. Like, being your own boss, then that's the next thing, was setting your own schedule. Like, me and my wife, when we have our birthdays, we're home. And this has been 2 months, because everything was right when all the holidays are coming up, all the birthdays. In between Christmas and New Year's, I came home for Christmas. Came home for Thanksgiving, too. That's when I was in California. And so what I'm saying is, like, it's not even like, it's just like, I want to be home at this time. You know, so then you start trickling back home. And then on the way, even I've gotten runs to where then the gas was paid for at least, and a little something extra with that. So that's what I mean. So that's a pro. Not impressing the boss, I wrote next, which is so true. Like, I was so sick of impressing the boss. And not like I was a suck up, I just was a hard worker, and they all did love me, but then it would be, then they overuse you, and I'm sure a lot of you people who have been debating on going this route, that's what it is. And then it's like, oh, and we need this, and we need that, and we need this. Oh, but none of the other, like when I was a trucker, none of the other straight truck drivers want to do these hard jobs. And I'd be like, well, okay. So then my life is just like, yes, you get it. 16-hour day because no one wants to do it. So anyways, let's keep going. Time with family. I sort of covered that. It's just like, and then when I'm home, I'm just home. And that's what we like too. It was different when I would work 5 days a week. Sometimes, you know, just, it was like, and then we just would get Friday night when I'd get home from work, and we were happy, but it was just not fully, because then I was sort of tired after work, you know how it is. And then Saturday we would have this epic day, but we'd have all these expectations on it, and then it would get stressful because, like, if things didn't pan out, it was like, oh my god, this was our one day. And then Sunday was sort of like, oh well, back to the grind. But now it's different. Time with family, I'm all about being in the present moment. Like, I'm just home, I have nothing to do. Okay, getting sick and not being stressed. This was something I noticed. I got real sick couple weeks ago, I don't remember when it was, and it ran through our whole family. But it was funny, I wasn't freaking out. I remember it was like during the week, end of the week or something, over the weekend, and like I didn't really notice. I'm like, why am I not, like, because usually when I get sick I'm freaking out, you know, like, obviously, like, so I sat back and I was just thinking, and I'm like, oh, I'm not freaking out because I don't have to be to work until I decide that I want to look for runs. So it was just, it blew my mind. I'm like, so I said to my wife, I said, I realized why I'm not, because I was just like taking vitamins, doing the stuff that I do when I get sick, and like, but just focusing on getting better. And obviously I don't want to be out of work, but it was funny. It was just, it blew my mind. So that was something that I don't know if anyone knows about a pro of owning your own business, cargo business. It was just like, I was just like not stressed about it. More money I put, and I already touched on that, like I'm making more. And, you know, that's a benefit. Holidays, I already touched on that. You know, like it's, you want to be home, you're home. Like, because they had me work a holiday weekend. That was one of my breaking points, because I was looking into this for a while. Couple months, me and my wife were, before we actually did it. And like, they just sent me an email saying you're working. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because usually, and this company was cool, not hating on them, but like, but that wasn't cool. I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, none of the other drivers want to do that hard job I was doing. I was doing really hard work. Because at first I was just driving no touch freight. And then when they saw I was such a hard worker, they started having me help out with that. And then I just kept doing it. And then at first they weren't paying me more. That's what I'm talking about. I had to go, what, you know, like I'm not doing this for free. I know they get paid more to do the hard thing. And then they were like, you know, you're right. Like, but at first they tried to play it off and keep having me do it cheap. And then I let them know, like, dude, this is not, I didn't get my CDL to be messed with. I don't care if I'm newer. Like, I'm a hard worker, but you're not going to use me. I knew what they were doing. But they still are a cool place. I don't hate on them fully, but it was just, it's that same work mentality where you're just the help. Like, that's why and I was full of fear doing this, scared. Like, when I turned in that work phone and said, okay, I'm doing my own thing, it was scary. But like I said, I'm in recovery, and we're taught to not live in fear in life and to go for it. And that's what I kept telling myself in my head. So now, business not closing, because that's what happened with COVID when I was at my cabinet making job. The business just stopped, and they just said, oh yeah, everyone's got to be let go except a couple of people, and that was just the way it was. And I was, you know, it is what it is. And that's when I went and got my CDL, so it actually worked out, and I got more into this driving thing. But that's just something that happened too. And I've been at other jobs where it's just, you know, they'd be like, oh, work slow. And even the trucking place I was at, I guess they told me sometimes in the winter it would get really slow, which I know there's a slow season. And I heard they would only keep their old guys who've been there forever. So that's a thing too. Like, no one's going to just tell you one day you're done. Like, and I've only been fired once, and that was when I worked at a treatment center back in the day. And that was because new ownership came in. That's a whole nother story. And I said I wasn't going to change. They were like telling me how to act and stuff. But that's right back to this point. And I was there a couple years. But anyways, that's just another valid point of this situation. Oh, this is awesome. No coworkers. Obviously, you deal with customers, you deal with brokers, but like, no customers. How good is that? I'm no customers, no coworkers. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I remember just dealing with coworkers and like, you know, like I loved a lot of coworkers, but like just their problems that like one day they're in a mood, or one day your boss is in a mood. Like, that's what I mean. It's just, there's none of that. It's just you drive, you're listening to podcasts, you're doing whatever. Dude, no coworkers. And my buddy, who he's a bus driver, he was talking about that's a big thing to him too. Is just like doing his own thing, no coworkers. Opportunities for other ventures like YouTube. Like, that's why too I started getting into fishing vlogs. Now I'm passionate about doing these. So that took a turn, but that too, like when I did want to leave the industry and just be my own boss, that was a big reason, because my YouTube was doing better, and I was making some money on it. My daughter had a video that went viral, but like then too, my other videos I was making a little bit off them and just having fun with it. And then I realized though, like I was just so tired from work. It was like I didn't care to edit. I didn't care to, now like when I come home I can just sit and edit and do my thing. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I just felt like there was no opportunity for other ventures. Like, it was just like I work all the 55, 60 hours, and then that's it. And then when I planned a vacation, that was when they told me I was working the holiday weekend, and I was like, what? So that was just another example too on top of all this. Unlimited vacation. Like, if I wanted to go out for 3 weeks, make a bunch of money, because in 6 days I made $3,000. That's profit. I think it was like $4,500, but like gas and everything, it was $3,000. So like, let's say I just went out 3 weeks. I mean, we've been on crazy cool vacations. Like I said, we grinded for all this. Like, we've been on, because I never want people to think we're just like, oh yeah. Like, we went on cruises. We went here. We always were big on vacations. So like, thinking that was big with me and my wife too, was like, do I really want to just sit and like wait to be given a vacation, to be like, oh cool, I've been here a year, I get a year now. Oh, I've been here 3 years, I get 2 weeks now. Oh, I've been here 5 years. I remember them breaking it down to me, you get 3 weeks. I'm like, I just want to do what I want. Like when I want to go on a vacation with my family, when we need a mental break from the hustle and just like, you know, my kids go to school, like, you know, we got 4 kids. Like if we want to just go somewhere, and we've done that already in these 2 months. Like when we just planned a vacation, I just was home, like, you know, or an event. And then too, specifically for like cargo vans, sprinter vans, the DOT regulations aren't as crazy. Like that's why too, when I was going to buy a straight truck, I looked at all like, you know, it's more like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. I'm in recovery, so that you got to, it wouldn't matter, but you got to do the drug program, you got to do this, you got to do safety audits, whatever, all that stuff. Because they called me, because this is my first year doing it, and they're like, oh, you don't need to do one, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. So less overhead. It's like I said, no boss, no this. That's why we bought it outright. So that's why I always advise people, I would save up at the job you're at. If this is your dream, I would save up to get to where you're not doing a van payment. But I'm not hating, because I know, but I've had people who went in on me on, oh, I drive for a company and I love it, and you did it, yeah, good luck, you did it, like going in, I'm like, dude, that I'm happy for you. If you like driving for a company, that would have been my route if it wouldn't have worked out. Like, but at the same time, I'm not even sure. I might have just sold my van and then driven truck again, straight truck, probably for that last company because they loved me. So I would have just went back there. But so that was a fallback plan. But I told my wife there's no fallback plan. I was like, I'm doing this. Like I was very motivated. I was watching motivational speakers, and anyways. Less rules to follow, and that's just talking about like, yeah, you got to follow DOT and you got to be good to the customers, you got to be good with the brokers, but like really you're just doing your thing. Like I'm really crazy though about being on time with my deliveries. Like I don't mess around. Like I'm usually an hour and a half early, feel out the scene too, so I'm not annoying people, but like that's what I mean. Like there's no one saying like you better like obviously you got to do your thing. And that's the thing too, if you're getting into this and you're not into hustling, and like, and that's what I mean. Like I and that's why there are pros to like, yeah, just having it where you get told what to do. I mean, because then that's weight off your back. But for me, the pros in this have outweighed the cons for sure. And I like it. It's like I'm saying, like, yeah, I get it. Just going to work every day. I did it for a long time. You know, I'm 32. I just turned 32. Like I know I did it where you just know your paycheck's coming direct deposit. But now. It's just, I like the freedom of being able to do whatever I want. No one's telling me what to do. When I got sick, I was fine. When I wanted to go on a little vacation, mini vacation, we went up north. Like there's no like, but yeah, it is stressful too. Like, yeah, because everything falls on you. But if you don't have a big goose egg, is that what it's called? I don't even know. If you don't have a lot of money to back it up, like I said, when we saved up for years, not for this, for retirement, but we also do a Roth IRA we're doing. But anyways, that's why my wife's better at these videos, because I ramble. But I just want to do pros and cons because like, but my advice to people is I wouldn't, like I'm saying, I guess I don't know because I haven't done it, but I'm sure you can make the money. But I feel like when you have a van payment or something of that nature, I feel like then, for me at least, for me mentally, I would feel like I am not like I would be paying, and then the interest would make it more, and then I would feel like I'm paying to work. But I mean, I don't know, like I know a lot of you guys make killings, like that one guy who went off on me. I mean, I'm sure you do, and I'm happy for you, but I was just saying for people who are like, I don't know if I could leave my job and do this, I think it would be best to just save money, a couple $100s a month even, to get to that point where you can just buy one outright and not have that overhead. But that's my pros and cons list. There was some rambling involved too. I appreciate everyone being so positive. Like most people, I've only had a couple really negative people, and I just say I hope you find what you're looking for in life. But all the messages, all the comments, drop comments below if you have any questions. You guys know I'll answer them. And then on my Facebook, Seth Leroy Hustle Adventures too, I get a lot of good messages and I talk to people. But anyways, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified. But I want to do a pros and cons list at 2 months so that later I can do a pros and cons list 6 months in, a year in, and just keep everyone updated on like how it's going, if the pros and cons switch. But anyways, thanks for watching, and everyone have a good day. Keep hustling.